So we're moving into our next pillar. And if you're counting with us, we're at the first, or spelling with us, we're at the first, well, the second A in Jamaica, agriculture. And this is a big one. I love that I'm seeing a representative from the Breadbasket Parish of St. Elizabeth on the stage. So, not in order of seniority this time, but of course, from the delicate, the most refined, to the medium refined, because I'm not going to say my Gensec is not refined, okay? So please welcome to our stage today the MP candidate for South St. Elizabeth, coming to us, Miranda Wellington, a firebrand on the ground, ready to show up for her people in the nation's parliament, and of course our General Secretary and MP candidate for Eastern Westmoreland and the party's spokesperson on agriculture, Dr. Dayton Campbell. So let me start with Lady Miranda, because you are now in a very interesting position. You are seeing what life is like in that Breadbasket Parish, how much of our nation's food resources really rest on the success of that parish, and for farmers to get what they need to provide for our nation's tables. What do you see as some of the critical areas for solutions to jump in immediately from a People's National Party government? What do your farmers need from you?
My fellow Jamaicans, my comrades, and of course, special shout out to my future Prime Minister, Marky G. I am from the Breadbasket Parish indeed, and all Jamaicans know that our farmers are the heartbeat of our economy. And we want to bring back a sense of dignity and independence to our farmers. But firstly, we have to look at what are the ways that we can empower them again. And I'm very excited about our manifesto plan for agriculture, because as a youth and from a community that is predominantly farm-based, I want to see our youths go back into agriculture. And we are very proud to showcase this in our manifesto. So youths in agriculture need the kind of support that we see many of our farmers across the island needing. And what is critical about getting our farmers back farming is that we no longer should have food on our plates that are from the States. So we need to protect them. The local industry needs to be protected. And my future agricultural minister will tell us a lot more about the areas about agriculture, innovation, and technology that is critical to getting back our farmers on board, especially our youths. And there are quite a lot of ideas that we have showcased in our manifesto, including geomapping, sending our farmers to the market without moving. That is critical, because there's a critical disconnect between our farmers and the market. So also, I'm from a predominantly drought-riddled area. We have to protect our farmers in investing in seeds that are drought resistant. You know, what we see is that they're spending so much money, so much lost in agriculture because of climate change. And we see where many of our farmers no longer feel it's viable in the drought period. So what we're finding now, many of our farmers are not farming for the last 3 months. So we have to look at seriously at how we can protect the drought-riddled areas in investing in technology, in investing in AI, so that they can get back to being a part of the industry that has led them into production for so long.
Thank you, Miranda. So we're hearing about the need for protection. We are hearing about the need for empowerment of our farmers, and also an element of sustainability in those farming communities to ensure that they maximize what they have on the ground and can also make use of the new technologies. What are the policies for the PNP heading into government to answer to some of those questions and more?
Well, thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. and of course our incoming Prime Minister. We called it, they confirm it, and we will win it. Now, just some context to agriculture. We have over 262,000 registered farmers in Jamaica. And if you count those who are not registered with RADA, you have about 300,000. It is the main economic activity in rural Jamaica, accounting for 80% of the economic activity. We do have some challenges. 80% of the persons who farm, they're on 5 acres or less. And we developed some agri-parks a few years ago that has all of the infrastructure, the road, the irrigation, the drainage, and we only have 30% of the lands within the agri-parks currently under production. In terms of post-harvest loss, that is at 30%. And when you look at the arable lands that are irrigated, only about 15% of those lands are irrigated. There are several challenges that our farmers have, and we have put forward some solutions to address those at the root. And one of the proposals is to ensure that we put an agricultural development fund in place. That will not see our people paying any new taxes. What has happened over the last 10 years is that the food importation bill in Jamaica has moved from 834 million US dollars per year to 1.6 billion US dollars. A 100% increase, and that is both in the monetary value and also the tonnage, which has also increased by a similar amount. From the taxes that we collect on those, whether it is the CET or it is the additional stamp duty, we are going to take a percentage of that, and that is what will put the funds in the Agricultural Development Fund. That fund we will use to ensure that we can make loans available to our farmers by capitalizing the PC banks. We'll ensure that we can work with irrigation, that they can have proper storage, that we can work with technology and just modernize what they do. It is also important for us to make land available to our farmers. Too many of them are on terrains that are not conducive, suitable for agriculture, and it doesn't lend to technology and mechanization. So we will put idle lands into the hands of the farmers by leasing them those and to ensure that they can put them under production. In terms of our school feeding program that Senator Crawford spoke about, if you look at, and I'll just use 2 examples of constituencies that I'm familiar with. If you use Eastern Westmoreland, if you're in the Darliston area, you have Darliston Primary, you have Maud MacLeod, just outside you have Enfield, and you have Chantilly. What we will do is, in order to provide that one warm meal, we will have our farmers produce those things. So the schools will have to do the menu and tell us what the needs are. So they would say to us that this school is going to require 500 pounds of Irish potato or 300 pounds of pumpkin or X amount of pounds of callaloo. And then we will send our local farmers to go and produce those things, and they will have a guaranteed market in the schools. We're going to spend $9 billion on that. So that will ensure that we are not only giving a nutritious meal to the students, but that the local farmers are also benefiting from our policy. We will put an agriculture special economic zone in place, which will come with all of the benefits that the special economic zones come with, the incentives and all those things. But the production in these areas will be export driven. So the items that we have a competitive advantage in, our spices, our yam, those items, our Sea Island cotton, those are the things that will be produced in those areas, and then we will increase what we earn. So there's currently a tremendous imbalance between what we are importing and what we are exporting, and we plan to ensure that agriculture can be that thing that people can generate wealth from the soil, and they can actually, by being involved in farming, they can break the shackles of poverty. We will also modernize what we do. Do you believe that you can use your phone to order something from China, but you can't use your phone to order something from Southeast or Southwest St. Elizabeth? So what we want to ensure is that we have the appropriate technology in place, that at all times we know what is under production, when is the expected maturity, what's the expected yield, so that way we will be able to control what is distributed in the market and in terms of imports. So we will not be allowing imports to run the way it is being run now, where there's just wanton distribution of import licenses. We will only go to imports when we cannot find those items locally. And in the import system that we'll have in place, it will be a transparent system, not geared towards friends and company, but one that is geared towards the benefiting the farmers themselves. So if they're producing and they're selling and they don't have the items, then they will get some of the permits to import the items so that they can continue to take care of themselves and their families.
Profitable, equitable, and modern. Thank you very much, Comrade General Secretary. Now we have a young member of the audience joining us on stage with a question. Please introduce yourself and, of course, pose your question.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Shari Ann Henry, and to you, Dr. Dayton Campbell. You know, many young persons across Jamaica, we don't see agriculture as attractive, and it's all about getting your hands dirty. So how do you plan, the People's National Party, when it forms the next government, how do you plan to digitize agriculture in Jamaica and make it more attractive?
Well, it is important for us to adapt to newer technologies if we're going to encourage or entice more persons to come into agriculture, young persons, female, into agriculture. So it is a core part of what we have planned. We do have our SMART program, which is Sustainable Management of Agriculture through Research and Technology. So if you look at a youngster that would be out there now watching their parent plant an acre of lettuce, if that person was to use a hydroponic system, which doesn't involve soil at all, because what you need for things to grow, you need three things. You need sunlight, you need hydration, and you need nutrients. So by using a hydroponic system, if you set up, say, a 5,000 plant hydroponic system, and lettuce on the hydroponic system would take 5 weeks for it to mature, as opposed to 10 weeks in the soil, you would be able to plant 1,000 seedlings each week, and therefore, after 5 weeks, you would start reaping 1,000. If each comes to a pound, you'll be reaping 1,000 pounds per week. If you're selling lettuce at $250,000 a pound, you'll be making $250 a pound, you'll be making $250,000 per week. So by showing young people these numbers, having the Agriculture Development Fund that can assist them with a start in setting up their infrastructure, we envision from that we'll be able to entice more persons to get involved in it. We'll also be focusing on backyard farming and urban farming so that more people can see the value of agriculture and can produce things even for their household needs. So it is something that we'll be working with the schools to just change the mindset. We were taught in a way that it is when you fail that you take up agriculture. A common saying in country is that, you know, the children don't make it and say, "Me have 2 farm for here," or whatever it is, to suggest that it is when you do not excel academically you go into farming. We want to change that mindset to make agriculture into a real career choice and show that you can generate wealth from it.
Dr. Campbell, I just wanted to add to that. We need to invest in value-added product. And a part of our manifesto is that we'll be looking on crops that are in excess. And we have to look at the other ways to make it profitable, because many of our young farmers may not be interested in the dirt farm, but the value-added products, such as our canning goods, teas, seasonings. And we have to look at the juices, the secondary level to production in agriculture. And I just wanted to add to that also, we have to look at the fact that we have to give our farmers a start again. We have to make them accessible to better loans in our credit unions. Farmers need a start also, not just small businesses. Farmers need to have access to better loan facilities, and this is what our manifesto showcases also. So I just wanted to add that part also.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thanks as well, Sharian, for posing a question from the audience. I think everyone here is stimulated and even more curious to scan that QR code, download the full manifesto and put each of these conversations into context for what's happening in your community and your constituency. Sharing as well that we will be sharing in a sort of drip fashion, strategically, new elements of the manifesto. So we have the full manifesto available tonight, and of course we'll have it in audio version, and then in another couple of days you will be exposed to Manifesto Light, which is not the light version of what we have ready tonight, but quick bursts of information on new, fresh policies and ideas. So when it's time for Manifesto Light, I want to make sure your belly is full from the Manifesto Heavy, so that we can have dessert together and explore what more is in store with the PNP. Thank you very much, Miranda Wellington, Dr. Dayton Campbell, and Sharian Henry.